Yeah. So,
Okay.
so you know,
Okay.
it's his birthday today. So,
Oh, it is?
yeah.
All right.
Is that?
I think so. Yep, 100%.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Has everybody had their photo with Louis Moore? All right, almost everybody. He'll get you before the morning's over. Oh, Louis, I'm going to smile for you. Everybody, Louis Moore. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. It is great to fill the house here today, all our tables. I'm glad to see you. I'm Chris Ronayne, your county executive, and I want to welcome you to our second annual Cuyahoga County Legacy Awards. The Cuyahoga County Legacy Awards celebrates the visionary organizations whose dedication, leadership, and advocacy strengthen the foundation of our community. Rooted in the spirit of Black History Month, the Legacy Award honors the institutions and leaders who have uplifted residents, advanced equity, and empowered generations. Through this recognition, Cuyahoga County reaffirms its commitment to preserving their legacy, our legacy, and celebrating achievements and inspiration and continued progress toward a more just and vibrant and resilient future for all. So I want to thank you all for being here. Our group keeps growing. We may have to grow out of this room next year, but for now, we're nice, cozy, and comfy together. I want to acknowledge, before getting into some other introductions, the 2025 honorees, to give you some context. Last year, we honored actually all organizations. This year, we added individuals, and we're proud of that. But last year's honorees were the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, founded in 1917. Could you give them a round of applause? I don't know if anybody's here from Urban League today, but thank you, Urban League. Also, last year, we honored the Cleveland NAACP branch, founded in 1912. I believe Council President George Forbes is zooming in, but he knows Cleveland and AACP well, and we're grateful. You're going to hear from George's family in a minute. I want to also tell you that we honored Karamu House, founded in 1915. Let's give them a round of applause. So, we honored the Friendly Inn, founded in 1874 in this community. And we honored our own Call and Post, founded in 1916 in this community. So that gives you a foundation of the kind of honorees that we continue to honor. I thought it appropriate to bring this legacy award to Cuyahoga County because of you, our leaders in our community, our inspiration in our community. And I said to our team, what better thing to do in Black History Month than honor you, our leaders, those that inspire, that tirelessly work toward justice, that continue the efforts toward equity in our community, and you're always doing the right thing. And so I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for being here today and making the effort to come down and support your friends, our honorees, and our community. I was honored to be in the crowd of which seemed like thousands with Vice President Kamala Harris last night at Playhouse Square. She's got a new book out. You were there, Sabrina? She's got a new book out, 107 Days, about her campaign trail. But her walk-off line about keep the fight going, keep it up. It's inspiring. And that's what we do every day. We fight for equity. We fight for justice. We fight for our community development. We fight for our togetherness. I love serving this county. There's no better place, really, because of the people I'm looking at right now, for what we do together in this community. So welcome to our Community Legacy Awards, our second annual. I also want to say, as I mentioned, Council President Forbes, who's in our midst, I've got a couple of county council leaders that I want to introduce in a minute, but I want to say to City Council, I want to say Joe Jones, thanks for being here today. Councilman Joe Jones, thank you. So, all right. And if any other elected leaders are out here that I'm missing, thank you, thank you. So, without further ado, to make a couple of introductory remarks, we have a wonderful president and vice president of county council, my working partners every day. I think Councilwoman Turner is also going to join us, but I wanted to invite up first Council President Dale Miller for a few remarks.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Cuyahoga County Council, it's my honor to welcome you to our Black History Month celebration. Thank you for joining us to both celebrate history and honor the people who are actively shaping it. Black History Month is a time to lift up stories that have too often gone untold. Here in Cuyahoga County, those stories are powerful. Our community played a significant role in the civil rights movement, from organizing and advocacy to faith leadership, grassroots activism, and institutional change. The courage and conviction showed in our county helped shape the broader struggle for justice across this nation. We know that legacy did not end in the 1960s. It lives on in the leaders and organizations being honored here today. This year's honorees represent decades of dedication in the pulpit, in public service, in community organizing, in violence prevention, in youth development, and in strengthening families. Their work has built bridges, created opportunities, and made our neighborhood safer, stronger, and more connected. They have poured their talents, their time, and their passion into this region, and Cuyahoga County is better because of it. I want to thank our honorees for their leadership and commitment to our community. It will be for others to introduce our honorees by name, but I do have to give a shout out to George Forbes, who I had the honor of serving with as a member of City Council under him when he was council president. Your presence here today shows that legacy can be both about the past and what we build for the future generations. Cuyahoga County has helped shape civil rights history, and we will continue to shape culture, policy, and community in the years ahead because of people like you. The president, a couple days ago, said that he had ended DEI, but a pronouncement like that cannot change the fact that we are a diverse community, and we are working together to become equitable and more inclusive. The struggle goes on, and thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you, Council President. We are in the House of Council, by the way. This is their house, our house, your house, and glad that you're hosting us today. It's my honor to also introduce a extraordinary leader on our county council. She chairs our Health and Human Services Committee. She's always out with our nonprofit organizations, creating better communities. And her name is Yvonne Conwell, Vice President of the County Council. Yvonne!
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I'm not a morning person. But I wanted to welcome each of you, everyone that's in this room today, for taking a moment out of your busy time to come and celebrate these individuals today. George Forbes, he is a neighbor of mine. He lives in my district. Phillis Wheatley Association. Mike Walker, a partnership for Safer Cleveland, and I'd like to meet with you because I don't think we've ever met. And Edwina Moss, that will not be here today, but everyone knows the profound Edwina Moss. And of course, Reverend Dr. Caviness, who has come out and been a supporter of mine personally, churches in my district, so thank you. Humble to all that you do. And to everyone here that we're celebrating today, they have walked the walk, talked the talk, and did the action behind it. And we appreciate you, and that's why we're celebrating you today. I know many of you have had numerous awards over the year, but it's not over. As long as we're living and breathing, we must continue the fight. As Dale and County Exec explained, this is a time of turmoil. I know we say that all the time, but we're all experiencing it through funding, through actions, through rollbacks of things that we and me personally have fought for here on this council for 14 years, and they're just getting rolled back. So please remember the midterm elections, whichever way that you want to go. This is very important to all of us and all of our survival. So again, I am humbly glad and appreciative to be here today with each and every one of you, and we must continue the fight. God bless.
Thank you, Councilwoman Yvonne Conwell. The mayor of Ashbury Street, too, right? Yeah, so Kevin's gonna get, he's gonna get after me for saying that. Please tell your husband, Councilman Kevin Conwell, hello, too. Appreciate your dynamic duo service in this community. And I don't see Councilwoman Meredith Turner, but I know that she is out busy preparing, and I just want to make this reference of Cuyahoga County's Divine Nine Community Day of Caring. Let's give it up for the Divine Nine and our historically black organizations. Anybody a member of a Divine Nine fraternity or sorority? All right, very good. Well, tomorrow, Councilwoman Turner is going to be organizing a supply drive, and it is in recognition of Black History Month, but every month we need to help our community with housing services, with food for their pantries, and everything we do to continue to strive to help our neighbors. And that's what Councilwoman Turner is going to be doing tomorrow. So that event is at the Cuyahoga County Welcome Center, which is at Fulton Parkway, something we opened up 3 years ago. We've had 15,000 newcomers come through our community, and if you want to help out, go see us on Fulton, and that's the new Community Day of Caring that Councilwoman Turner is moving forward. So thank you, Councilwoman Turner. And I want to thank our dedicated county staff who's out kind of sitting in the back. They honor you today, and we honor them with the service that they provide every day in this community, and appreciate you, the county team that works with county council and our administration. It's a dedicated team. One thing I want to say to you that a word I didn't use, so I was mentioning why you're here, the people who inspire, the people who tirelessly serve this community. For so many of us, you're also mentors to us. For me, I look out in these tables and I see my mentors. I see people who've helped on campaigns. I see people who've given me spiritual leadership, spiritual insights, and I've seen people who just work tirelessly in the organizations around town. You inspire us, and so thank you for being the mentors out in the community in your decades of service. We'll officially kick off with some music in a minute, but again, I'm honored to welcome you to Black History Month celebration, our community legacy, celebrating leaders and organizations that shape us. That's who you are, leaders who shape us. It's not simply about the past. It's about impact, influence, and the work that continues beyond any single moment. It's about the people and institutions whose efforts have opened doors and created opportunities and inspired generations. I don't need to tell you how special a place like Cleveland is. in Cuyahoga County. I always feel, as a county elected leader, I'm at home here. I'm at home with good people doing good work, neighbor to neighbor, helping neighbors. And if we all worked like we did during COVID, we say this a lot, the world would be a better place, right? But we in Cleveland do that. We help our neighbors every day, and I see it all the time. And as Council President Miller mentioned, these most difficult of times. The federal, state governments, we're not seeing as much support as we used to see. That's to say the least. But we in Cuyahoga County, we strengthen our community with each other. So today we honor, as was mentioned, 5 remarkable leaders and organizations. And we will keep this event going because there are so many leaders and organizations in this community to honor. But today, it's 5 honorees: George Forbes, Council President George Forbes, Reverend Dr. E.T. Caviness, Edwina Moss, Mike Walker, and the Phillis Wheatley Association. In a minute, you'll hear more of their stories, but each has championed justice, strengthened communities, and as I said, mentored and paved the way for future generations. Your work reminds us that progress is built on perseverance and vision, and that legacy you leave will continue to shape this city and this county for years to come. So, now without further ado, for some musical inspiration, one of our own students from the Cleveland School of the Arts, Rihanna Tate, and her teacher and mentor, Dr. David Thomas, will perform Lift Every Voice and Sing. Will you please stand for the anthem? Thank you.
Every voice, earth and heaven, ring with the harmony of living. Let our rejoicing rise high as the list. Let it resound loud. They sing the rising sun of our new days begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
One more time for Rihanna. Wow. And Dr. Thomas, thank you. Thank you for what you do. And tell all of our friends at Cleveland School of the Arts hello, but wow, what a star you are. So thank you. You gonna stick around for a minute, Rihanna? All right, all right. Are you guys ready now for our awards? All right. Well, we are ready to. And again, the second annual Community Legacy Awards, as this beautiful award states, it's given to community leaders and organizations in recognition of your unwavering dedication to uplifting our community. Each of these honorees has left an indelible mark on our region through advocacy, leadership, and service that has changed lives and strengthens neighborhoods. Today we celebrate our achievements and the example you set for all of us. I want to thank all the friends that are here to support the honorees today. You know, we don't do this alone. We do this together. And I know our leaders feel it, that it's their families, it's their communities, it's the members of their faith-based institutions, it's the members that they meet out doing their public service work that make this such a special community. So in no particular order, we're going to honor our legacy awardees. I took a few personal notes, and so I'm going to fluctuate between some office notes and some personal notes because each one of these individuals and organizations means a lot to me personally and how you uplift this community. The first honoree is Council President George Forbes. If he's listening in, let's give him a round of applause. And in a minute, I'm going to bring, there we go. I'll pause while we try to digitally connect. Is he on? He's on. Well, hello, Council President George Forbes, if you can hear us. All right, and Helen, you will, I'm sure, clean up anything I forget, but Council President George Forbes was born in Memphis, Tennessee. He served our U.S. Marine Corps. He received a GI Bill scholarship, and he attended Baldwin Wallace University. I know he's very proud of that institution and has served it as a board member for years. He received his JD at the Cleveland State University Law School back in 1961. 2 years later, he became a council member in Cleveland's Ward 27. Yes, Council President Miller, you might know this, Councilman Jones, Cleveland used to have 30 wards. 33, thank you, 30 plus, 33. And at the time when Council President, or then Councilman Forbes joined, there were 10 African-American council members of the 33 in Cleveland. He was instrumental in his efforts to help elect the first African-American mayor of a major city, our Carl Stokes. In 1967, he organized Operation Registration. He helped form the largest minority law firm in the state of Ohio, and the legacy of that firm is Forbes, Fields & Associates. After a decade of city council service, he was elected council president. And I dare say there has never been such a council president in Cleveland City Council. Am I right, Councilman? He's passionate and always has been about racial equity and about addressing poverty. Mr. Forbes earned the respect of his colleagues across the aisle in the mayor's office, from Mayor Dennis Kucinich to Mayor George Voinovich, and later Mayor Michael R. White. And I know all the mayors that succeeded those mayors. As our county council members know, George Forbes leaves a whole community legacy, forged in his passion for equal rights and civil rights. Known for his council reunions in my old neighborhood, University Circle, I think, and I want to thank Mary, his wife, your mom, for putting up with all of us all those years coming to the house in University Circle. But I believe that Council President George Forbes remains one of the most famous council members in American politics. After council, he kept giving. He became president of Cleveland's NAACP. He's been a longtime board member of Baldwin Wallace College, where he continued to give back to the institution that he came to that brought him to Cleveland. He's the father of 3 wonderful ladies. He's a father-in-law. He's a husband to Mary. I want to say to Helen, to Lauren, and Mimi, thank you for sharing your father with us all these years. What he did for all of us, he treated us all like family, and that's an extension of your family. You gave his time back to us as well. And those were my personal notes. I'm going to leave the work notes off, and I hope I got most of that right, Helen, but I want you, Helen Forbesfield, to come up. But I prefer that if we can hear Council President Forbes. We'll see if we can give a shout out or give a shout out. Hello, George Forbes.
Howdy, howdy.
Hi, Lauren and Mary. I see everyone. Let's do this as well as we can virtually, Helen. Once you come up, we have an award from Cuyahoga County to celebrate your community legacy that I'm going to present to Helen, your daughter. But I want to say hello to all your family there behind you. And if Dad wants to say a word, you want to say a word?
Oh, I don't ever speak on his behalf.
I will leave it to Dad.
Even at 95. Dad, please, say a few remarks.
Go ahead.
You want me to talk?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Oh, they're waiting on you. Come on.
This is a prime example. If you live long enough, things, people will treat you right. All these kind words you're saying about me. Yesterday, I was receiving an award from the federal court, for a lifetime achievement. And whoever thought that would happen? And today I'm getting this award. Appreciate it very much. We tried to do what was right. And the fact that wait till you live to be 95, your record changed, people treat you right, and I appreciate that. But I want to express my complete thanks to my brother who brought me to Cleveland and put me into this business of politics, who understood it better than I did. But thank you to the county, thank you everybody for doing what you're doing. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Council President George Forbes. You want to say anything? All right. George, Mary, Lauren, thank you guys for joining us virtually. Helen's here to receive the award.
Thank you.
And you have given more resolutions than I will ever give in my life, but I'm honored to give you, I don't know if I have to get on the mic for him to hear me, honored to give you a resolution from Cuyahoga County for your distinguished service, your passion for this community, and everything that you've advanced in this community. Thank you, George Forbes, Council President George Forbes. I want to quickly just give a couple staff shout outs. I said hello to all our staff, but I want to thank Sabrina Roberts, Naila Bird, and also Kelly Woodward, who really helped me put this together alongside Amanda Dempsey. Thank you guys for everything you do. I'm grateful. Thank you. Well, that was inspiring to hear from Council President Forbes. And now we are honored to acknowledge with this Community Legacy Award an organization that's been around town for a long time. This is the Phillis Wheatley Association. And in a minute, I'm going to ask Craig Thompson, the board chair, and Richard King, the executive director, to come up and accept this award. But I want to say first, Phillis Wheatley Association is more than a century old. It's named after the African-American poet Phillis Wheatley, who became the first person of African descent here in this country, a once enslaved African-American, and only the third American woman to have been published. And Jane Edna Hunter named this organization after the poet Phillis Wheatley. Jane Edna Hunter, as we know, gave our town an incredible legacy. We have a building at the Health and Human Services offices named in her honor. But she founded the organization in 1911. It was created to provide shelter and support for single women who migrated north in search of work. It's been a pillar of strength and opportunity in Cleveland for more than a century. By the 1930s, it had become known, and Helen, you'll appreciate this, as the Black YWCA, a prominent meeting place for African-American leaders and a hub for growth, education, leadership, development, and connection. Richard and Craig tell me, you could tell more of this story, but have one of the oldest buildings in its purpose in the nation here in Cleveland on Cedar. Throughout history, the Phillis Wheatley Association has done far more than deliver services. It has built confidence, created pathways, and invested deeply in people through its programs and advocacy. It's empowered individuals and families and strengthened neighborhoods. Really, I think, a consummate neighborhood services organization, and has ensured opportunity reaches those who need it most. Its focus over the years has been broad, focusing on education, housing, personal and financial well-being. I heard this morning that we have a legacy member of the founding of that, and that is Craig Thompson, the board chair, whose great aunt was Jane Edna Hunter, who founded the Phillis Wheatley Association. So it is my honor to bring up board chair Craig Thompson, the great nephew of Jane Edna Hunter, and Richard King, the executive director of the Phillis Wheatley Association. Richard said I'm kind of tall. I never made it in basketball, but how about those Cleveland Cavaliers? Man, I almost had one last night, but they've been on a roll. Let's go all the way through June. All right, so whoever wants to speak first, just want to thank you. All right, let's start out with Craig Thompson, board chair.
Thank you. Thanks, buddy. Hi. Thank you very much, Chris, for having us. You know, it's an honor to be honored by our county, you know, and I truly believe that Cuyahoga County, I think it's the best place in the nation. You know, we've got it all. We've got, you know, it's great summers. You know, Jameis Winston was here last year when we played football. He said, people don't know Cleveland's got the best 90 days in the world. You know, it's the only thing we have is these winters to deal with. So other than that, you know, it's a great place to live. You know, growing up here and growing around the history of the political aspect, the religious aspect of Cleveland, it's been a joy in my life to see things progress. Every year, it seems like we get a little bit more. Keep trying, keep trying. So I'd like to go two things here. First, talk about Phillis Wheatley. Of course, you touched on it too. She was actually a slave brought over in, I think it was 1754 or somewhere in that ballpark. So she was brought over on a boat named the Phillis. The family that adopted her, bought her, was named the Wheatley family. But they immediately noticed that Phillis had something special, that she could talk, she could speak, she learned how to read, and then that she could write. And so eventually there was actually a congressional hearing to see if it was true, to see if a woman of color had these talents and that they weren't just, she's plagiarizing someone else. So she sent a poem to George Washington at the time, John Hancock. The congressional hearing proved that, yes, it indeed was Phillis that wrote these books. And so, you know, that's what my aunt, Jane Edna Hunter, got the inspiration to actually name the association the Phillis Wheatley Association. So we've got Phillis Wheatley here. And, you know, then I got to talk about Aunt Jane. Aunt Jane, if you know Cleveland history, man, she was a monster. I remember her. You know, she died in 1971. She was born in 1882. She was actually born on a plantation. So my family, we take, you know, our history well back into slavery, you know, until, well, 1865, because there was no records at that time. You know, we were just pieces of property. We weren't people. So I've been to the plantation that she was born on. You know, she came here and saw that there was so much injustice going around with women, especially women of color. But one thing, too, that you must realize, that all of her things that she did over her life, it wasn't just centralized to women of color, it was to all women. So, very proud of that aspect because people ask us a lot of times, is that something, is it just for black folks? No, it's for people in general. Our mission at the Phillis Wheatley building has changed. Like I said, that building is 9 stories tall. It is the tallest, and I was telling Chris, as far as I know, African-American owned, operated, and built building in the United States of America. So we're so proud of that. The Central community has changed. Our mission has changed a lot because we dealt so much with women. Now we deal a lot with seniors. And believe me, if you were ever to come down, I'd be happy to give you a tour. There's no doubt about that. But the people that we serve, they are so grateful for the work that we do. During COVID and everything, we had to shut down our kitchen. It was tough, We didn't have any money, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I don't care what we do. The first thing we need to do is make sure we feed our tenants, because they don't have food. I've seen this SNAP situation where I've got people getting $16 a month for food. You know what they do? They buy coffee. So they can try to stretch it out to serve them half a month. So we try to feed them from Monday to Friday and go on from there. We've got a couple projects now. We're trying to renovate the building. It may take time and years to do it. But, somehow, some way we'll get it done. Somehow, some way. So thank you all for listening to me. And I'm real passionate. If you don't have a nonprofit that you support, we're one, I think it's a worthy cause. I don't accept any pay. I do this out of the goodness of my heart because I know one day I will see Jane Hunter and she will ask me what I did, So please keep us in your thoughts and your prayers. And I'd like to introduce Richard. Richard King is our executive director there. And without Richard, I tell you what, our building will fall down to the ground. The guy does a fantastic job. He's the guy that dots the I's and crosses the T's. He's there every day. So I'm so thankful to have a man like him that has integrity as well, because we do this out of the goodness of our hearts. And to try to maintain something for Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, and for the world. So thank you all, and I'm going to give you Richard King. All right?
Good morning, everybody. I had prepared some comments, but I'm not going to go from that. I'm going to speak from my heart. When I look around this room, the legacy, the history, that's critical to our next generation. And it's very important to know that we have to reach back and touch others. And that's what Edwina Hunter was about. We've heard from Chris about Jane Edwina Hunter, Craig, relative of Jane Edwina Hunter, but there's certain things you don't know about her. She loved her God and she loved others. And that was her legacy. She helped the least of these that we're called to do. And that's what we're doing today, is helping the least of these. But one of the things that I just found out as far as our legacy, and I never knew this all these years because I'm a product of Phillis Wheatley. My parents forced me to go there. Okay, my mom migrated from the South, and she stayed at Phillis Wheatley. And so I have a personal relationship with Phillis Wheatley. And now, when I got into my career in engineering and other things, I was able to donate thousands of dollars back to Phillis Wheatley. But I just learned also that we have a deep relationship with Reverend Caviness Church. His church was birthed out of Phillis Wheatley Association, which is outstanding. And I never knew that. And I thank you for sharing that story. And that's critical. I've had the chance to talk to people from all over the country. Through the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, the Conservancy, we ran an operation called Camp Mueller. How many of you went to Camp Mueller? Great. So did I, okay? But I had a chance to talk to their CEO, and she told me that people come from all over the country, and they see our camp, and they say, my mom went there, my father went there, my uncle went there, and I was truly amazed how much of a national impact Phillis Wheatley Association had. And I was thoroughly thankful that people's lives have changed, generations have changed because of Phillis Wheatley Association. So when I look at that, I said, this is critical for the legacy to continue for the next century, because we're founded in 1911, okay? The building was built in 1927. We're going to go through a major historic tax credit and 4% low-income housing tax credit project again to rehab it for the next century. And we're going to be working with Tony, okay, out of your department, okay, of development. We've hired Salas Development, and I don't know if you know them, but they're going to help us through this project. And so we look forward to the next century. We look forward to how we're going to impact your grandkids, your great-grandkids, okay? So beware. They're going to understand who Phillis Wheatley was, and they're going to have a legacy themselves, and it's going to be at a generational impact beyond belief. So thank you for this award, Chris. Thank you for this award, County Council. We're deeply humbled on behalf of the staff and also our Board of Trustees. So blessings to you all, and thank you.
Thank you, Richard. All right. Oops, we're gonna fix it. Richard, I tend to go off the cuff too. That was the best off the cuff I've ever heard. So, hey, thank you, gentlemen. Richard, Craig, for sharing that history and also that interwoven history, Reverend Caviness. That's who we are. We weave together and support one another with that strong net of support. Wow, I'm inspired. How about you guys? Oh my gosh. Well, we have three more awardees to recognize. Maisha Watkins, I'm glad you made it in because I wanted to say one of our mentors is Mike Walker from the Partnership for Safer Cleveland. Mike, you're the young guy in the house today from Council President Forbes, Rev Cav, but they're ever young too. So, Michael, this legacy is built through partnerships, and nobody knows partnerships better than you. Mike Walker, through his leadership with a Partnership for Safer Cleveland, has demonstrated what it means to bring stakeholders together around shared goals of reducing violence and building trust. Public safety is not just about enforcement, it's about relationships and it's about prevention and opportunity. Mike's work reminds us that sustainable change requires coordination, commitment, and courage. I peeked into a little bit of Mike's walk-off with his interviews around town as he was leaving, and I just wanted to say, he has supported a Safer Cleveland for over 3 decades. He's been in the space and work for over 4 decades. He's an expat from City Hall, like a lot of us are. Rev, you too are, right? We all been there at 601 Lakeside. But he sprung from City Hall to build one of the greatest partnerships in this town, and that is Partnership for a Safer Cleveland. As I say, our mentors amongst us, you inspired us to create the Office of Violence Prevention, now led by Maisha Watkins. Can you give a round of applause on that? Because I know you're about to, Maisha. And one of the things I've known Mike for years and reunited today, but one of the things I read about you and was said about you is that he's a listener. And we all have to practice this listener leadership, right? And you had said it's one of the most important things in your job is listening. Once again, you inspired us. Our Office of Violence Prevention has been on a listening tour through all 11 county council districts to learn about violence in community, to take a human-centered approach to it, not a pointing fingers kind of approach, but listen, hear stories, and build a better path. So that's Mike Walker and so much more, but he has inspired an entire generation of people working for a safer community. I also want to acknowledge all the board members that are out here today to support their teams, but he's got a big cast from his board and friends who've helped him through the years, his successors, his predecessors. So thank you, team Partnership for a Safer Cleveland. This is Mike Walker, our Legacy Award winner. Love to have you come up, accept your award, and say a few words. Michael. mention Judge Ron Adrian, who judge who's given us, even right down to the lunch, and wonderful insights over a couple hours. I want to once again thank, pointing out to my issue because we both learned a lot on that day. Judge has also given his lifetime of service to, improving our community. So, the chairman, the director, Michael, we would like you to say.
First of all, thank you all, and I appreciate it. It's a memorable day because all the people that are here, our President George Forbes, I knew his brother, Mr. George. Reverend Caviness, goes back to George Leonard's day. Chris, back to all of you, Maisha. Again, it's a blessing, but I just want to make one thing. I'm from Alabama. I was born in Alabama. And for most of you who know me well, I'm a Buckeye. And I am truly a Buckeye. I would be wearing my hat if I'm being respectful, be inside the house. My grandmother would be upset if I had the hat on. But the one thing you always know about Buckeyes, we fight. Yes. We fight for justice. We fight for peace, health, food, welfare. I'm blessed by all of you. Thank you for this opportunity.
So, all of you who absolutely know Mike Walker know that I had to bring him kicking and screaming to this event because he hates the spotlight. And as a matter of fact, there was some question in our minds as to whether or not he was even going to show up today. So we're glad that he's here. What he had to say as it relates to his commitment is absolutely true. Mike is one of those rare people who has the ability to look at a situation and figure out how all the pieces, parts fit together in order to accomplish the ultimate goal. And he does that without having an ego in the room. And that's the thing that makes him special. The Partnership for a Safer Cleveland has been around since the early 1980s. We had an executive director before Mike, but we don't talk about him. Not because he was bad, but because of the fact that he pales into insignificance when we compare him to what Michael has done over time. Not just locally here in Cleveland, but nationwide. Mike is one of those kind of folks who makes connections and makes everybody's situation better. Every single group that comes into contact with the Partnership for a Safer Cleveland is in a better position than it was before it made that connection. And that's all been because of Mike. And so when Mike decided that he was going to retire this year, we were really kind of verklempt about that because it's hard. It's going to be really hard to find somebody who has the same kind of, what does Liam Neeson say, a particular skill set that is going to be able to make things work the way that he has been able to do that. We have been blessed to have him around, and knowing Mike, if I say too many more words, he's going to kick me. So, at that, here we go.
Judge. Mike Walker and the entire team at Partner for Safer Cleveland. Thank you, guys. It takes that whole team. Well, we have a fourth awardee who cannot be with us today because she's at an important appointment with her husband, Dr. Otis Moss Jr. Before I get to her, I do want to say happy birthday to Dr. Otis Moss Jr., who's celebrating his 91st birthday here. So wherever he is out there in the community, give him a round of applause. The Mosses are really, truly a dynamic duo, both celebrating in their 90s now, and they've given for decades, nearly a century of their life to civil rights. And I thought it appropriate to honor, we see Dr. Moss with a lot of accolades, and every one of them earned and well-deserved. But there's always a person right next to that leader who also has made her own journey and fought for civil rights from the very beginning. And that's Edwina Moss. She, as you know, yes, sir, Reverend Caviness, she embodies that kind of legacy we talk about with these awards. Throughout her life, she has championed families, fought for equity, and worked tirelessly to ensure that Black residents receive resources, respect, and opportunities that they deserve. I think a lot of you in this crowd know that Edwina Moss worked directly with Dr. King, that the Mosses were married by Dr. King. And she herself is a trailblazer and a pioneer in civil rights who has given decades of her life to civil rights. If any of you have heard her speak, and there's lots out there on YouTube and otherwise where you can hear from Edwina Moss, but she's the best of humanity. Thoughtful, compassionate, and driven by purpose. She too is a mentor in our community. I'm reminded of the opening of the new MLK library and what she said at the side of her husband. And I'll try to channel this the best I can. But in the civil rights movement, remember that women stepped out and did a lot of that work, right, Reverend? That women did the work. And she reminds women of that, lest we forget. It takes a partnership. And of course, the Mosses have a most special partnership. But we have a partnership in this community with Edwina Moss. Her commitment to justice is forged through her work with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. And Rev Caviness, if I forget, I have my SCLC pin on that you gave me. Because the Mosses, again, tirelessly worked with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. She served as senior executive assistant during the height of the civil rights movement. Her role placed her at the epicenter of the movement that transformed a nation. If you look into the internet about civil rights, you see pictures of people. Always out there are pictures of the Mosses walking the walk. It's her legacy. It's one of advocacy and lasting impact. We in this community, those who know her, we love Edwina Moss. We appreciate her leadership, and we celebrate her in this receiving this most important legacy award. I had the distinction to be, as I mentioned, with Vice President Kamala Harris yesterday. What a reunion that was here in Cleveland. But I got one call during that meeting, and it was from Edwina Moss, and I said, excuse me, I have to go take this call. And she said, I cannot be with you today because I need to be with dear Otis for an appointment he has. I'm with you all the way. And she's here today in spirit. And so I also asked her what she might want to say to this group today. And she said, let's keep up the fight. That's Edwina Moss, decades and decades and decades of service. She also messaged in today to her friend, Dr. Marcia McCoy. As Marcia told me, she was voluntold by Edwina to receive this award on behalf of Edwina Moss. So, Dr. McCoy, could you come join me and receive this award on behalf of Edwina Moss? Let's give Edwina Moss our round of applause, and Marcia McCoy. This is heavy. Appropriately so. Oh.
Well, I will say this. She texted me, very short. She said, thank you. This is such an honor to be recognized by you, County Executive, and your team and other Clevelanders. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Short and simple.
Thank you, Dr. McCoy. And thank you, Edwina Moss, for her legacy of service to this community that keeps on going. I want to acknowledge a friend of mine in the crowd, and sorry to just point out one person here, but I want to say to Harry Boomer, thanks for all you do in this media world. Thank you. Thank you, Harry. We did a round of February interviews in the early part of February, and they're asking me about every issue at the county, and things come and go, but what's important stays with us. And Harry Boomer was really the only reporter who said, what about Black History Month? And you got into issues facing African-American citizens here in the county. You always do. You got our back. You got this community's back. Harry Boomer. Thank you, Harry. Thank you. He's trying to transition into retirement, but I know you're going to fail at that in a good way. We need you. We need you in this town. Because if you stick around, you might reach the ripe young age that Reverend Caviness has reached. I think he's about 37, but somewhere we had a couple decades. How many of you have worshiped at Greater Abyssinia Baptist Church? All right, let's give it up and let's welcome everybody else to come worship at Greater Abyssinia Baptist Church. He's surrounded by friends. He's surrounded by his congregation. He's surrounded by other pastors I see out there, Pastor Phillips and many others. He is a legacy, a walking legacy in our town. I am lucky to feel, he calls me my brother. I call you my brother. And I'm lucky to feel family, both to Reverend Caviness, who I appreciate. Don't tell my pastor, I think I've been more at your church lately than his, but he treats us all like family. Folks, he's been in the church. I took a note on this over my Wheaties this morning, but it's amazing that he has been with the church for 65 years at Greater Abyssinia Church, Baptist Church. 65 years. From my notes, but we've got more, we could spend the entire day, and we should, going over Reverend Caviness's life of leadership and service. He was born in 1928 in Marshall, Texas. He earned his bachelor's degree at Bishop College in Dallas, did his seminary work in Webster Grove, Missouri. He holds 2 distinguished honorary doctorates, probably more since I last read that. He's so important. The Encyclopedia of Cleveland History can talk about him, so I look to that as a source. He's led several congregations from Texas to Illinois, but obviously he's anchored in Cleveland with 65 years of spiritual leadership and community leadership at Greater Abyssinia Baptist Church. It's a special place for those who haven't been there. Get there, because it is community in its truest form. And the community needs a leader. Municipalities need mayors, counties maybe need council members and execs, but churches need their leader. And he has been here for decades. Entire generations have worshiped and then seen the next generation and the next generation worship at Greater Abyssinia Church. And the same pastor has been preaching in that church all those generations. Obviously, he has a long history in civil rights. He's the current president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference in Cleveland. I see so many of you in the church when I go there, and I was honored to receive this pin by you and Reverend Hilton Smith, who I want to give our great outreach to. I saw Marcia yesterday, and those Reverend Smith, he's been going through a lot. And so our prayers with our friend and brother, Hilton Smith. Pastor Caviness, as you all know, is a friend to so many. He spans the generations. The other day I saw him at Slovenian Hall reflecting on his time working between George Voinovich and George Forbes. And boy, did that take a shuttle diplomat sometimes. So you were born for that work, Reverend Caviness. Yes, our faith institutions have long served as pillars in this community. When we were thinking about these awards this year, I thought and said to my colleagues, we've got to bring in faith-based institutions because, as you know, they have been the anchors in our community. Times when there's nowhere to go, we go to church. And then we try to spread all the good that comes from people like Reverend Caviness into our community to help others. Reverend Dr. E.T. Caviness of Greater Abyssinia Baptist Church embodies faith in action. And I want to underline that, faith in action. He is always fueled by his faith, and he exudes that faith that we all receive it. Faith in action. He's given his life to spiritual guidance, to support, and to hope for countless families with a ministry that reaches far beyond the walls of the church. It's no wonder that if you walk in his office, on his walls, our presidents, our senators, our congressional representatives, our mayors, our county representatives, because people know he's the real deal. As you spoke about Mayor Voinovich the other day, he picked you because you're the real deal. Somebody who knows the community. You know, we in elected office think we do. We try to get proximate, but nobody's more grounded in the community than Reverend Caviness. And that's why we lean on you. We rely on you. You're the foundation and the person who connects us. At the height of the civil rights movement, Reverend Caviness worked closely with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I love his stories that he tells about Martin, his words, because his friend, Martin. And you've heard these stories about when churches were filled. Come over here. Martin, come to my church. We got room. We got a place. And the work you must have done in the 60s and earlier with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I can never get enough of those stories. He was at the epicenter of civil rights and remains at the center of civil rights. He served in the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, has chaired the Cleveland chapter. He's supported justice efforts across the Midwest and, frankly, the nation. He's assisted with voter registration drives. If you've seen the students who come to his church, and sometimes he's had to go to an even bigger place because he's brought so many students to the pews. I've seen that happen. He's a motivator of students at a high school level, a man at 97 who can reach to a teenager at 17. He can bridge 80 years, 90 years with his drive. People who meet him respect him and know that he led desegregation initiatives and that he stood alongside Dr. King during his visits to Cleveland, including 1965 walk from his church to Corey Methodist Church. That's the other thing. Pastors know this. How many of you are pastors here? I know Pastor Phillips is here. Anybody else? All right, yep, there we go. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you. You guys know he connects pastors. He connects pastors in the community. He lunches with pastors to think about common issues and things that we need to work on in this community. I'm a believer that the faith-based community is a bedrock foundation in this community. And our leader amongst our faith-based institutions is Dr. Caviness. He is. His legacy, serving with organizations such as NAACP, CORE, the Ohio Civil Rights Commission, and as president again of the Cleveland branch of SCLC. His lifelong commitment to justice, equality, and uplifting the community has made him one of Cleveland's most enduring moral voices. If there was a father, a parent, a pastor of Cleveland, Dr. Caviness. You and Dr. Moss, who I had the pleasure on Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday to see the two of you preaching together. It's a historic moment. Everybody in those pews, how many were there that day, this January? Yep. Thank you. Thank you for your inspiration. I know if Dr. Moss was here today, he'd be right here with you. They are two of 5 Key to the County recipients. I was honored to give both you and Dr. Moss the Key to the County in your church 2 years ago. You've earned every bit of it. We learn from you. We love you. Reverend Caviness reminds us every day to uplift one another. And Pastor, we need that more than ever. We need that more than ever. Uplift one another, uplift our community. So today, folks, we honor, for his extraordinary dedication and profound influence, Reverend E.T. Caviness, receiving today's Legacy Award. Dr. Caviness. There you go, Louis. All right. Come on. Come on. Come on, Marcia, come on. Come on. The mic is yours, Rev.
You want to use that. Don't let him touch it, because his hands shake.
Okay, do just like that.
No man is an island. No man stands alone. No man stands alone. Each man's joy is joy to me. Each man's grief is my own. We need one another, so I will defend each man and woman as my brother and sister, each man as a friend. It's my distinct honor to tell all of you, when you're having children, make sure you have a daughter. Boys, all right, but it's the Helens and the Jacquelines of the world who will take care of their dad.
All right.
Life is so fleeting. Life is so short. Before you know it, it's all over. So you must relish every moment, every meticulous hour that you have on this earth. Make sure you allow that to be your defining moment, because you never know if it'll be your last time. Otis Moss mentioned a time when an illustrious preacher had a tear coming down his cheek. And he said, as the man spoke, what was the problem? He said, as I perused what you were saying, I immediately thought that this might be my last time. So the tears began to flow. So this morning I am accompanied with the illustrious chairman of our deacon board, with Brother Terry Butler, our deacon board, a young lady who walks with us, Dr. Marcia McCoy in National Action Network and Southern Christian Leadership Conference, this illustrious chairman of our board who has been there for us, who's gone all over the country and allowed us to be memorialized back in my hometown of Marshall, Texas. And all of you, just a multiplicity of friends as I look upon this audience today. One thing I'm mindful of, and that is that my dear brother, Hilton Smith, lies gravely ill. And in a few moments, we will be going over to City Hall to lift him up and to bless God for his pilgrimage here. A phenomenal brother, a man who has stood tall and done so many good things for so many people, especially young people, that he relished. And he and I have walked together, along with my illustrious and distinguished friends here on our board. And as I look upon this audience, I see so many of you who have assiduously and ardently worked to make sure that this county, this state, this city would become a city and a nation where people love one another and where people really come together as brothers and sisters so that we will avoid the disaster that Dr. Martin Luther King said, we perish as fools. So thank you most kindly for this gathering. And would you do me a kind favor and bow your heads for just a moment as we thank God for the Hilton O. Smiths of the world. Amen. To the illustrious and distinguished Cuyahoga County Executive, Mr. Chris Ronayne. I'm known for long speeches. County Council President Dale Miller, whom I had the privilege of serving on George Forbes City Council for 6 years. And the esteemed members of Cuyahoga County Council. Be pleased to allow me to say 2 quick things to you on this august and beautiful morning. The first thing I want to do is thank you most profusely, profoundly, and prodigiously for this signal honor. The second thing is, I would ask you, please, please, get me out of here the same day we came in.
Love you, brother. Love you. Thank you. I got you. I'll get you.
Okay, all
I
right.
got you. What's it wrote there? All right. There we go. Marcia. No.
You got the sister shoes?
I will see you soon. I'm reminded of how spry Reverend Caviness is. I think Dr. McCoy, Jacqueline, I think he got a bicycle 2 years ago on his birthday. Yeah, so he just keeps going. Keep going, Rev. Keep going. Well, we are rounding out this beautiful morning in Cleveland. Cuyahoga County. I want to once again thank my partners at County Council for joining me. I want to thank the families of the honorees. We're all family to the honorees, but thank you to our board leaders, our board members, our staff members, all of you out in the community, our pastors, thank you, and to our county staff. This is, I will dare say, one of the great days in Cuyahoga County when we celebrate our legacy awardees. Today it was George Forbes, Dr. Reverend E.T. Caviness, Edwina Moss, Mike Walker, and the more than century-old Phillis Wheatley Association. When we started these awards, they started out of thinking about foundational organizations, particularly those in the African-American community that had served this community broadly for more than a century. And we found there are so many. So I think about the organizations that have served for nearly a century or more than a century. And then we got to people who've done the same. Reverend Caviness, Edwina Moss, George Forbes, Mike Walker, and again, all their support partners. I would be remiss if I didn't say, and I know he is a dear friend of Reverend Caviness, if we didn't also honor Reverend Jesse Jackson on this day. The county proudly, but with heavy heart, flies our flags at half staff, at half mast, today, through this month, and into next month. Leaders like you in the crowd, we know and we respect that this is Black History Month, but every month, for me and all of us, is Black History Month, every day. The African-American community in this community is strong. My wife said something today, I want to make sure I get it out right. But as I was walking in this, I said, I got something very important today, Natalie. And she said, one, to say hello, but she, as a few people who worked with her at City Hall knows, has been steeped in work in this town for a long time. And she said, particularly of the community in front of me today, it's not always about self. It's not always about an individual. What she said is, the people you're going to be with today got each other's backs. It's about all of us. And I walk off on that thinking that we are together as one community. We have a phrase here in Cuyahoga County, we are Cuyahoga. We are about uniting. We are about working together. And we don't get anything done without this team that's here. So today we honor you. We want to think the next year about our legacy awardees next year, and we want to keep this going. Something that honors those who've been here for us for years, for decades, in some cases, century, beyond. These are the legacy awardees of today. I thank you on Black History Month for coming here to honor our brothers and sisters who deserve these recognitions. And let's keep going. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your day.